Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel and our Let's Play Planet Zoo series. Today is all about the canines, the dogs. That's going to be our focus today. I tried to think of, going to the left side of the zoo, we had the bears. Now coming to the right side, what could we get in there that would be exciting to draw people around that way as well? And I think one of the biggest things we decided to add in was going to be I call them canines, the dogs, but added a couple predator animals here, and that was we're adding the Timberwolves, and then you're going to see some African wild dogs come in. Now there is a third animal that I thought was a dog, however, turns out it is not a canine type of animal. And what animal is that, you may be asking yourself right now? Well, I'm going to leave that as a surprise for a little bit later for you to find out. Okay? So right now, what I wanted to go over is, I think I am getting a little bit better with doing the habitats as far as kind of knocking out that front area, knocking it down so I can go ahead and make better looking viewpoints. Overall, I did add the rocks along the fence line just because I think that looks a little bit better than, having just a wood fence. Even though the wood fence is definitely doable, it just feels like to me that the rock background looks better overall. And this habitat is going to be our Timberwolf habitat. So generally, I do have animal welfare off, so it's going to always pretty much show that, hey, these guys are at 100%, love their stuff all the way through. So I do still like to cater the environment to them, first and foremost. Even though it's already at 100, I prefer to have it be, I guess the animal would still prefer. That's why you'll always see me go through, and I try to keep the same plants that they would use, same type of coverage that they prefer, instead of just adding in whichever ones I want. And that makes my life a little bit easier. Still, aesthetics in this game, kind of like with Planet Zoo or Planet Coaster, are still a challenge for me. So that's why I've kind of still like to stick to adding in what the animals like to see in there. And here I'm just trying to look at, what type of viewpoints would we have for this if I did put these, little reed plants kind of things up there. And I kind of like how it looks. It focuses the people's point of view, the people's eye, into essentially the center of it. We do put in a good chunk of Timberwolves into this habitat, so we do have that going for us. What you're seeing me do here right now is going to be the hard shelter. I wanted to keep it, if you think of like a wolf den being in like, a massive, say like tree kind of dug down into the ground a little bit, that's what I was going with as far as having the logs being up here, and that's going to be their hard shelter. And so this is where I'll put in the bedding. I do have a viewpoint there. I need to work on the one-way glass, so they won't be too stressed being down in there. But that's kind of what I wanted to go with here. And instead of having a building or trying to figure something out with the arc shapes and all that, I like how these logs really do look. And I think for a Timberwolf habitat, it comes off pretty dang decent, I must say myself. Kind of did impress myself with this one, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what I'm working on here. Obviously, you see me putting the bedding in. I've got plenty of the trees that all fit with their habitat. And now I'm just looking at their social structures, because I needed to add some more in. And now I'm adding in the enrichment stuff. But the hardest thing whenever, especially you got animals that are mating and all that, is keeping the size where they need it to be, right? The group size. And then that was always one of the harder things. So here what we're putting in is our little fence barrier. Um, to keep even though we have that drop off, hey, we need to keep the peeps out of there because I don't need none of them being eaten by no dang wolves or nothing. Don't need that. Don't need my zoo to feel that type of pain, that type of stress, that type of lawsuit. You know what I mean? So that's what I was kind of looking at as far as that goes, from the peep point of view, and making sure that get as low as you can, so even the kids have a good point of view on it. They have a good shot to be able to see these animals. And now here I am popping up the education. I do work on trying to make sure that there's plenty of education and donation pots around each one of my habitats. Just because I think zoos, one of their main things should be really to educate people on how and all the different conservation methods and just different things about the animals in general, because that's just really interesting to learn, I mean, if you think about it. And I needed to have a ground. I didn't want it to be just grass leading into it underneath the fence, so I put down some mulch. And well, you can't just have mulch hanging over, so I went on ahead and put down the cement barriers and put them all the way across, so it does look pretty well man-made and pretty purposefully designed that way. That was kind of my goal there on these. And I'm trying to figure out what type of plants should go across here. And I do think in the end I end up leaving it with just as the mulch alone, and that seems fine for me. Now, as I'm doing, I will end up putting a building back behind there that our keepers will use to go in and out of it. It is one of those things that I'll probably end up connecting that over with a different habitat that's going to be built up behind there. I've got some plans going for, well, I think in the next couple episodes, obviously, I need to put in a massive education center and restaurant area. But what I also want to put in, what I've also been thinking about doing, is looking at possibly like a monkey house, an ape house, a gorilla house. Something like that. That's kind of been a thought of mine as well. And so that's pretty much got most of my planning for the future coming up. I wasn't sure really how tall to make this building because I didn't want it to be, an eyesore. Essentially, I wanted it to look good, and so I did make it. It may be slightly tall, but I wanted to be able to add multiple dimensions, because just the plain block buildings, even I'm getting to the point where, as basic of a builder as I am, I really still don't like those. I want it to have more of a shape to it, more of a tone, a feeling about it. And so that's why you see me kind of go through and reshape and redesign some of these things. It's mainly for that purpose. So that's what we're working on. We're gonna finish up this building here, and then we're gonna get started on the wild dogs. And after the wild dogs, we will have our surprise animal available for you to see. So stay tuned and get ready for that, and I will catch up with y'all here in just one quick little wee bit. And I am back. So for all of those of you who have held in through this time, thank y'all very much. And you are seeing our surprise animal that we're gonna put in here, and that is gonna be the hyena. Now, I really legit thought that the hyena was at least a member of the canine family. I was, however, sorely mistaken. I did not learn that till after the fact. And that would learn that in the Discord chat. But I don't know, it still works out for me. I still like the fact, and their mortal enemy really is the lion, so you can't really go wrong with that. If it's massive, like greatest enemy is a cat, it's got to somehow be related to a dog, right? You know what I mean? So that's what I was kind of going with here. You'll see this quick little jump cut. I didn't realize the recording had stopped as I was building it. So I finally caught on and ended up going back through and starting the recording back up again. But you do miss some of the layout and all that and putting the walls in. But you're lucky enough to be able to see me get the fence loaded for this, which I just put a simple 1 meter fence down, or not fence, but wall. And then I put a fence basically kind of resting inside and on top of that, and I lowered it down. And with having that water barrier, it creates a good little, gap between people and these natural enemies. So, I think it looks really good. And so here I am trying to fix some other parts of the park. Or the zoo. We got animals fighting, so I sent some bears out of there. That kind of disrupted me. And you see my little waterfall I like having going there. I think it works out pretty decently. No, am I the greatest at it? Not even close, but I like doing that. And I think it looks pretty decent. Here's their hard shelter. I was trying to think of what type of hard shelter I would put in there. I'm going to probably end up redoing that and making it, just something out of actual building pieces instead of the rocks. But, I figured if you take like Lion King type thought, the elephant graveyard was essentially their home. So I went on ahead and went with the rock formation. That's kind of what we had working for today. And here I am just going through looking at what type of trees I had in these other exhibits, because I needed to kind of close some of them off, cover them up in the surrounding areas, so that way the background's not just empty. And that's why I was kind of checking out those other trees to figure out what else I needed to put in here. And that's kind of shutting off that side of the zoo coming up. I'm thinking behind the bears is where I may start the safari, or coming this way. I haven't totally decided yet, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Like I said, I'm going to have a monkey house. We're going to have some crocodiles coming in future episodes. We got a lot of animals coming, and we have 7 of them right now. The canine area, flamingos, bears, and buffaloes. But I'm looking at probably having 20 to 25 different types of animals. That's including those that are in the safari section. But we'll be getting to that in later episodes. And here I am creating my sign. It's going to be called Dog Alley. I thought about just having it on an angle, kind of making like a little loopy sign like that. But I don't know, doing it angle just didn't really work for me. I didn't like how it was feeling as I was building it. So I went on ahead and kind of kept that same concept that I had, but I think this looks much better in doing it this way than what I had it at, what I was originally planning on. So you'll see, kind of put this over so that way everybody knows that coming down this way is your dog alley. Because on going the other side, I got a sign for the buffaloes. There's a sign for the grizzlies, so you kind of know what you're getting into. Going there, and I wanted people to know it coming this way too. So that was my thought behind it. And now I'm just trying to make sure that the letters are kind of highlighted and accentuated. So there I am adding in a wolf, and I'll go through and put a little hyena sign in, thinking, oh, hyena's a dog. Turns out it's not. Oh well. Just trying to get the same color scheme. Finally pull that off. And then I change it. As is the case with many things in Planet Zoo. So here we are, enjoying some of our wolf that we have available. And I would like to remind y'all to subscribe. And if you like the video today, go ahead and hit that little thumbs up icon down below. And I will be seeing y'all in the next episode. So enjoy some of our wolf here. And I will check y'all later. So as always, stay safe. And later, y'all.